The sun hung low over the dusty African plains, casting long shadows as the village bustled with excitement. The day of celebration had arrived. Nia, the beautiful daughter of the chief, was to marry Baba Kofi, a wealthy elder whose riches were the envy of many. The air was filled with the rhythmic beats of drums, the aroma of roasted goat, and the laughter of guests. But behind the veil of festivity, Nia's heart was a storm. In a small, humble hut far from the commotion, Nia stood in her wedding attire, her face pale beneath the radiant beads adorning her forehead. Her hands trembled as she clutched a wooden comb, a gift from Ayo, the young man who had captured her heart. Ayo, the poor cattle herder who sang songs to the wind as he guided the old man's cows across the plains. Ayo, who had nothing to offer her but his unwavering love. The night before, under the pale moonlight, she had crept into his hut. They had whispered of dreams, of freedom, of a life far from the chains of obligation. "I cannot live without you, Nia," Ayo had said, his voice raw with emotion. "If you marry him, I will wither like the grass in the dry season." Now, as the wedding drums grew louder, Nia made her decision. She could not betray her heart. With a deep breath, she pushed open the door of the hut and stepped into the light. Her maidens gasped, rushing to stop her. But Nia was swift, like a gazelle fleeing a hunter. She dashed through the narrow paths of the village, her beads clinking with every stride. The ceremony had begun. Baba Kofi, draped in a golden robe, waited with pride. When the villagers realized the bride was missing, panic erupted. The chief bellowed orders and a search party was assembled. Meanwhile, far from the chaos, Nia found Ayo where she knew he'd be, beneath the ancient baobab tree, watching the cattle graze. His eyes widened in disbelief as she ran to him, her wedding dress now dusted with the earth. "They will come for you," he said, his voice heavy with worry. "Let them," Nia replied, her voice steady. "I choose you, Ayo. Let us leave this place and never look back." With haste, Ayo saddled the only horse he had, a gift from Baba Kofi for his loyalty. It was poetic, almost cruel, that the old man's generosity would become the tool of his loss. The thundering sound of hoofbeats filled the air as the young lovers galloped away, the wind carrying their laughter and the faint scent of wildflowers. Behind them, the villagers searched in vain, their shouts fading into the distance. Nia and Ayo vanished into the horizon, leaving the plains to whisper their story. Some say they crossed the great river and built a life in a distant land. Others believe they became spirits, guardians of love and freedom, watching over young hearts who dared to dream. But no one ever saw them again.